And friends of late business mogul Richard Maponya have spoken fondly of his values and work ethic. Maponya, who started his first business during the oppressive apartheid years, is said to have worked right until the end. The father of black business, as he was known, has been laid to rest at the West Park Cemetery in Johannesburg. He died last week at the age of 99 following a short illness. Rupiwa Matzena is joining us live now from the West Park area. Rupiwa, so Richard Maponya now buried in that area. Many family and friends speaking quite highly of him at that service today.
That's right, Tembekile, a phenomenal send-off for a phenomenal man. Friends, family, government officials, and ordinary South Africans that wanted to draw on the legacy that he created and built over so many decades gathered here to say their final goodbyes. Right behind me is where his final resting place is, next to his wife, Marina Maponya. And many spoke fondly of her role in his life in business as well. Many described her as the wind beneath his wings and really helped him flourish. They were a truly phenomenal and dignified partnership that were able to build communities like Soweto over many years, and of course that iconic mall, Maponya Mall, which was his pride and joy, something that took him decades to see into fruition. At the funeral, his son Roy Maponya addressed him as a rock that wasn't only one for the community and for greater South Africa, but one that kept his family together as well. Let's take a listen to that.
He was there yesterday. He's gone today. We don't know how the future looks like. We still have to go through that. Life continues. But most importantly, we must adapt to being without our leading elephant. 99 years is indeed a very long time, and we are grateful and blessed that he was around for so long. To us, our father wore different hats. He was our father, he was the chairman, our backup, a pillar, and at times our why.
And Rupiwa, as you listen to Mr. Maponya's son, they talk about how much he gave not only to business but his family as well. It takes us back to some of the tributes that we've been hearing since his passing, where a lot of young people who came generations after him kept referring to how even in his later years he was never reluctant to extend himself to assist them with whatever sort of help they needed.
That's right, Tembekile. Some interesting insights from these young entrepreneurs that you speak of. A lot of the people spoke about the fact that he never missed a meeting with an aspiring entrepreneur that wanted to meet him. He never missed a board meeting. And more importantly, he always read his emails and he always responded to every single question about how a young person can take up business opportunities in South Africa. One of his mentees, Vusi Tembagwayo, who was also fond of him, says that he drew a lot in terms of his entrepreneurial ventures. He drew a lot from Richard Maponya. And one of the biggest things that he learned was the value of education and gaining skills. Richard Maponya was big on education and saying that if South Africans, young and old, could garner any skill that they were interested in, they would be able to enter the marketplace as entrepreneurs and, of course, create jobs. We know in South Africa, jobs are very scarce. We're actually having a jobs crisis. So that in his 99 years was a big mission of his. Another big important element of his life here, Tembekile, was the fact that he believed in not retiring. He would always say in interviews, when you'd watch him, he'd ask the question, retire for what? What will I do when I retire? Sit and enjoy the fruits of my labor? You know, that was one of the things he would always ask when asked about retiring. So he would always say that he would die with his working boots on, and he did just that. Earlier I was giving a story about the fact that we were told that on the 2nd of January this year, he was planning meetings with his executive team to plan the year ahead for his company. And these meetings were planned for the 6th of January, the morning he passed on. And I think that the hope of all the people that worked around him, his executives, family, those that engaged with him constantly, is that that legacy is carried on and is fallen upon by entrepreneurs to take forward and hopefully grow South Africa in the medium term. Another important element here is that we should remember that we are not supposed to just be celebrating one Richard Maponya. There should be hundreds of Richard Maponyas in South Africa. So hopefully a level field will be opened up that will allow people to enter that marketplace. But we also heard from President Cyril Ramaphosa, who praised him as not just a businessman, but one that looked for the development of the ordinary South African. Let's listen to that.
He was a business person, yes, but he was driven by the conviction that South Africa would never be truly free until the fruits of prosperity were shared by all its people. He stood for self-upliftment and in doing for oneself. He inspired a whole new generation of business people, some of whom are here today and some of whom also spoke. He took them under his wing, and they became people who stood on his shoulders.
That was President Cyril Ramaphosa, part of his tribute at the funeral of the late business mogul Richard Maponya. Rapua Matzena, who you see there covering that story, that all-important story for us today. Rapua.